Hello everyone, welcome to the third segment of the Oddcast podcast, our usual elevator pitch segment where we review the first 3 episodes of TV shows, the entirety of movies, or the first few chapters of a book, or maybe even, if one day I can convince Ethan, a TTRPG rulebook, though that's a lot of pages that I have to make him read.
It's, I do love really complicated magic systems, so I'm sure it would be enjoyable.
Maybe one day I'll make you review the JoJo's TTRPG system that I run with, given it's short and not that complicated, but it's fun to work with.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about a different anime today. Like I said last time, we're talking about the original Dragon Ball, hence why I'm wearing my Kame House hat today. Sort of just kind of continue on with the little Dragon Ball theme that we've had for the last episode, since Battle Hour is still on our minds. And I am still riding the high of Xenoverse 3 existing at all. Yeah. I haven't seen the original Dragon Ball in a while, and I didn't finish it either, which is something I really need to rectify. I also haven't seen it dubbed. I saw it subbed originally, and so I decided to check out the dub this time for the rewatching on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I kind of did the opposite. I originally saw Dragon Ball dubbed, and then I watched the sub this time. And I am.
So we're kind of doing similar to what we did with JoJo when we reviewed Part 5.
Yeah. I am thoroughly. I'm always impressed with Masako Nozawa. But she from the very beginning, she's doing a great job here. She's like, it's interesting because. She's almost, I think she's like 49 or 50 at the beginning of Dragon Ball. Masako Nozawa is 89 years old, for anyone unaware. Absolutely crazy. She's killing it.
It is really wild that she is still killing it to this age. She can roar.
Yeah.
Some of her deliveries in Sparking Zero, for that game, just is still blowing me. In general, she blows me away. And it was really nice to hear Stephanie Denalny as Kid Goku, as I've really only heard her Kid Goku performance in clips of the OG Dragon Ball that I've seen before I actually sat down to watch it for this. And her voice as Gohan, because she's always been Gohan to me. Because with the BoJack movie, which I watched a lot when I was younger, always her performance in there stuck out a lot. Heck, over there, you can't see it, but I'll probably get a picture of it, is a signed statue of BoJack Gohan in Super Saiyan 2 by her, and it is one of my favorite things that I own, because I caught her at the first Comic-Con in our area. And she really does a great job as the character, and it was good to see her back in Daima. And seeing her in this, I can tell how she has progressed a lot as a voice actress. Hearing her, I also watched a bit of the Daima dub to kind of compare the two voices, and you could very tell it's progression in her delivery, and it is great. And I thoroughly enjoyed her performance as Goku.
Yeah, and I also understand that this was your first time hearing the English version of Makufushigi Adventure.
Yes, I have heard covers of it, the opening of Dragon Ball, that are in English by some lovely folks across the internet over the years, but I've never actually heard the original, dub version, and it's very nice. Dragon Ball is a very good opening in general, but I've never heard the original, so it's pretty stellar. So, I won't even lie.
It is time now for Ethan Schlegel blows up the internet. Once again with controversial hot takes. Some people are going to want to reach through their screen and wring my neck for this.
Do tell.
The English version of Mystical Adventure, the song, is leaps and bounds better than the original Japanese. Now,
okay.
I will give the Japanese one all of the credit in the world for actually writing the damn thing and coming up with the melody, right? Dun 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 dun. That's all from the Japanese. However, the Japanese one walked so that the English one could run. The English one was recorded after the Japanese one, And you can really tell because the production value is so much better. The mix of the song is so crisp and clean and really dry. There's like the original one, the Japanese one from the early 80s, or I should say mid 80s, is really like there's way too much reverb. The singer is a little bit pitchy sometimes. Some of the words don't rhyme very well. The rhythm's a little bit off. The English one is unbelievably tight. The vocal harmonies, the piano embellishments, like the rhythm section is absolutely off the wall, in the pocket. Yeah, it's just the superior version of the song.
Interesting. Well, what do you know? I'm surprised, because it has been a long time since I've seen it, and it's kind of jogging my memory, how much is introduced in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like capsules and everything, and it's always, it kind of sets it very interesting. You get kind of like the mysterious like backstory of Goku, but you don't really get too much context about it. You get you get capsules. Pilaf is introduced. It's I think my favorite part about this so far was like the the ending of episode 3's narration. It's like talking about yes, our villains, and I'm sitting here like, well, in the first episode they've barely done anything to be warned to be called villains.
Yeah, so this I don't know if you're aware, but all of the Pilaf stuff in episodes, I think 1 and 2, maybe even 3, is actually filler. Pilaf.
Really?
Yeah, Pilaf in the manga is not introduced until much later. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I haven't read the. Man, I really haven't. I really need to refresh myself on the manga because I haven't. I own some of it, and I have owned some of the first few volumes of it, but I haven't read it. Probably even longer since I've seen the Dragon Ball anime. So I didn't know that, as I didn't remember that. Huh.
I think that
the
Pilaf stuff is probably some of the best filler that the show has. I think it was actually a pretty good decision to introduce them earlier than the manga does. Because to be honest, when Toriyama first started writing, knowing him, it's possible that he didn't even know that Pilaf existed at the beginning. But it was probably a good idea to introduce them a little earlier, set them up as kind of the big final bad of the arc. So.
Yeah, they're set up early, and I know what they go on to do, so it's just, yeah, I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah.
And it really has been a while since I've read the original, first, I own, I think the first couple volumes, 3, 4 maybe, of the original Dragon Ball, sitting around here somewhere. It's probably, man, I did not remember that. Huh.
Yeah, but I do think so what do you think about Pilaf and Mai and Shu as villains?
As they are in the first 3 episodes context, they are certainly something. I wouldn't exactly they were certainly more, well, I mean, it's the original Dragon Ball, so there's going to be a lot of gags. Because as the series goes on, it becomes more and more about the martial arts and everything. But as it starts, it's still coming off Toriyama's reels of writing more gag manga. So, and I think the anime with its filler reflects that. They're still very much coming off as kind of like, they're kind of just something to cut to, so you can kind of keep things more interesting and something to do, which is important to have in a show. So a B plot to cut away to. So they provide that sense of additional comedy and everything, but as just kind of, they were certainly entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
For the most part, at least.
Yeah, I think they are just absolutely hysterical. Sometimes when Pilaf scampers off and he has to run all the way across the room to push the button and get Shu into the machine. Stuff like that, man. I just love Pilaf. Pilaf. Okay. Here's another absolutely nuclear take. Pilaf actually, this one is probably shared by more people than I actually am setting this up to be. But Pilaf is a better villain than a lot of the Dragon Ball villains. Actually, somebody like Jiren, for example. Jiren is very strong and every time he's on screen, something interesting is happening because of the people around Jiren, but he doesn't actually really move the plot forward a lot with his with his own actions. Whereas Pilaf is a very active character. He has a lot of personality. He's constantly like doing things to either screw up Goku in the gang or screw up his own gang himself. So he's one of the most active, like, humorous villains in the series. I just think it's like really effective for this first arc.
I think it's funny you bring up Jiren, because Jiren Oshoki is more of an antagonist and a wall more than a villain.
Yeah.
Pilaf is definitely much more comedic villain, and certainly has a lot more personality than Jiren. But Jiren is a block. He's a brick wall to overcome more so than anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the gang's kind of antics. A lot of the comedy in Dragon Ball, of what I remember, can be very mixed. When it hits, it's really funny. When it doesn't, it's kind of eh.
Yeah, all of the...
And
I basically really love all of the jokes that are not weird and perverted. There are some jokes that are like...
Oh, Roshi.
Yeah. It's a tired old trope of the old man in anime has to be a sexual predator, and it's like really unfortunate. But
It was the 80s.
Yeah, but I mean,
in Japan.
I do like some of the conversations between. I think the relationship between Goku and Bulma is honestly the heart and soul of this first arc, because like there are some really great lines. I don't know if this one is in the dub, but whenever Bulma goes off to relieve herself, in the sub at least, she screams and she's captured by the dragon, right? Or the dinosaur, I guess. But Goku, when Goku hears her scream, he's like, "Oh, did a snake bite your wiener?" And he just he doesn't know anatomy, and it's just one of those like Toriyama
He was raised in the mountains by a single guy, and he's been alone ever since.
Toriyama is really capitalizing on the naivete.
And that Toriyama capitalizes on the naivety of Goku to tell a lot of jokes and make it for to make for very comedic interactions, and I think that does work in areas, and in other places it doesn't. And yeah, I know in the dub, I think he just says something like, "Gosh, can she make up her mind or something?" Something like that.
Yeah.
Gosh, Bulma can't seem to make up her mind because she tells him to stay over there.
Yeah.
It is it's really. The characters, they have a very fun dynamic, I think, because Goku is so incredibly naive and innocent, raised by one old martial arts master who died early in his life, and he's been up in the mountains ever since by himself. He has seen nothing of the world.
Yeah.
So I think that makes for an interesting dynamic. It makes it for a fun dynamic, and I think it was quite enjoyable to watch. But again, some of the humor hit for me, and others really didn't. And I'm not sure what the split percentage-wise on that is. I'm trying to think it over in my head. But it was very enjoyable to relive it, and I may hopefully watch more of it, just to kind of give me because some people say it kind of starts rough and then gets on from there. But I don't know. I think I still do agree that when I did get into the later halves of when I first watched it, I agree with some people saying that it's some of the better storytelling you can get out of the original run.
Yeah.
The original Dragon Ball is, and from what I remember, that stands true. And reliving the first episode kind of reminds me that it starts very entertaining, but we'll go into better places later.
Yeah. I don't know if I could pick a favorite between original Dragon Ball and Z. I think they're both equally good in my mind, but like the there is an argument to be made that it is a little bit tighter in terms of the efficiency of the storytelling and the stakes, but and by the stakes I mean, like, you know, they are less on a galactic scale, but also, you know, you feel the stakes a little bit more because we really haven't abused the bringing people back to life thing very much until Z. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think like the Pilaf arc is a great, really, it's a great mixed grab bag of stuff. You get not only do you get this stuff at the beginning with Roshi, but you also get all of the crazy stuff with the shape-shifting Oolong and the Ox King and Yamcha and the monster rabbit that can, you know, turn you into a carrot, and all this mystical crazy stuff. So I think all
the moon.
Yeah, I mean, all of it plays into each other very nicely. And I don't think, I don't know if I would agree with the whole, like, it takes a while to get good, because, like, to be honest, the Red Ribbon Army arc is not any better than Pilaf, in my opinion. I think it's great, but honestly, I just think that, like, the tournaments, the Tenkaichi Budokai tournaments are really, really hype and great stories. And all of the other arcs are really good as well. King Piccolo is a little bit of a dip in quality, but everything else I would say is like really, really, really solid.
I think when I had stopped watching Dragon Ball, when I was initially rewatching it, like for the first time, was around Red Ribbon. I don't remember. I think I had something that came up, kind of got me out of the pattern of watching it, so I never went back to. But yeah, I don't know. I really did enjoy these first 3 episodes quite a lot. It was very it was fun. It's such a different vibe to everything else in the later series, except for, like, I guess what GT was trying and failing to do. And I guess Daima's a better example, because Daima kind of has a similar energy, and then it kind of blends it with the later Z energy kind of feel. Yeah.
I just really love the dynamic between Goku and Bulma in these first few episodes. Like,
yeah.
I think that is the lifeblood of this first arc, and I think that like, Toriyama's really drawing from his JRPG roots there by, you know, introducing these two characters that start this quest, and one of them, they're basically kind of polar opposites of each other. Like, one of them is very innocent, the other one is not at all. One of them is very simplistic and doesn't have any book smarts, and the other one is a genius. You know, one of them is conniving, and the other one is quite carefree and straightforward. And, you know, both of them have sort of a level of naivete. You know, I mentioned Goku's naivete, but also Bulma is a little bit naive herself, which makes it a little bit more endearing, because, you know, there's that one part where she's sitting on the bed thinking about Goku's tail, and she's like, well, come to think of it, I've never seen the backside of a dude before. I mean, maybe they do all have tails, you know? She's like second guessing herself. Yeah, there's some great humor here.
That is true. It really is just a fun introduction to everything. And no matter what, it is still the Dragon Ball. And I think anyone who hasn't seen the original, even if I haven't finished it, I would still say you're doing yourself a disservice by not watching it. It is, and it really, what I remember, it is very strong, and I really enjoy my rewatch of the first 3 episodes, and I am probably going to try and keep rewatching it just to try and actually finish it this time.
Yeah.
Because it's good.
I think that's a great idea. And, you know, honestly, there's a few misconceptions about Dragon Ball that I would like to kind of address here, because a lot of times people say like,
By all means, wrap us up with it.
yeah, you know, a lot of times people say like, oh, Dragon Ball was so much better at incorporating the side characters, and the side characters just don't do anything in Z. That's not really. I almost find the opposite to be the case, where yes, Dragon Ball does do very well with its side characters, but also like I think Z does really well as well, because like, I mean, Dragon Ball Z is essentially the Gohan and Krillin and Vegeta show for almost all of Namek. Goku is constantly out of commission, and the side characters have to like string stuff together while they wait for Goku, right? And you know, if you want a show,
Goku in Z.
Go ahead.
Sorry, it's a quick thought. Goku in Z kind of becomes, he's still the main character, but also kind of like the kind of a plot device as well.
Yeah.
Where like it lets the other characters do stuff. Anyways, continue.
Yeah, and I think to kind of ride on your point there, like a lot of people do view Goku as a plot device, and kind of he, you know, as sort of a flat character that doesn't really change a whole lot.
Well, that's not true.
That is not true. I was gonna say like, I think the biggest thing that you can hope to gain from watching Dragon Ball, other than the great adventure and humor, the original one, is seeing those extra layers of Goku's arc. Because in the beginning, he just starts out as this mountain hick that hasn't seen anything, and you know, he's really carefree, and he finds out that he loves to fight, and he loves to do he loves to have adventures, and it starts off at a very carefree place. But when you get to the end of the King Piccolo arc, I literally just mentioned that this is the weakest arc in the original Dragon Ball, but there are some amazing things in King Piccolo. One of the things I think that is amazing is whenever he finishes off King Piccolo and like, you know, blasts through his torso, which is a crazy metal death, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Goku, you can see that Goku is like so relieved. He actually starts crying, like after, like while he's still in the air coming down from killing King Piccolo, and it's the first time where Goku wins a fight and he's not feeling excited or victorious, he's just relieved. And that's really important, because up until now, Goku has been fighting for himself, and he's been fighting like, oh, you know, I really love training and getting stronger. But this is the first time where he was fighting not for the sake of himself, but to avenge his friends. And this is the first time where fighting was not enjoyable for him. It was just anger, and he wanted to get rid of this threat. And once he finally does, he's like, thank God, he's just overcome with emotion. And it's kind of the first time where you see a little bit of his innocence get lost there, because like it's the first threat that is really, I mean, he killed his best friend, you know, like it's the first time he's had to deal with those types of consequences before. So yeah, there is some great character development for him, for sure.
And with that, I think we're going to close out the segment and today's episode. If you all enjoyed this episode of the Oddcast podcast, where we talk about and yap about plenty of things going on in the world of media, pop culture, and anything else going on we're interested in, please leave a like, share, comment, do whatever, YouTube pleasantries, all that jazz, or just be glad. I'm glad if you watch the end, I'm just glad you're here anyway. I wish you all a good, or at least odd day, and please be safe out there.